Florida on Saturday, October 24th. Call 866-996-2182 for details. The NFL alumni will provide gift bags, breakfast, lunch, and prizes. Call 866-996-2182 for details. Play for kids. Call 866-996-2182 for details. Hosted by the NFL alumni.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917. Welcome back to Ocala Talks. I'm Tom Schmitz, coming to you live from the studios of WOCA Radio in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida, on a dreary, drab Monday late morning, except for the two guys that got in the studio. Because with what they've been through during COVID, to get a very meaningful movie out and to the masses, dreary and drab doesn't even describe what you two guys have been through. I'm talking to Dr. Andy Wakefield and Brendan Martin. Andy, good morning to you.
Tom, it's great to be on the show. Thank you.
Well, let me turn your mic up. It's only radio. I've done it forever. Let me turn your mic up so people can hear you.
Hello, people. It's great to be here. Thank you so much, Tom.
Brendan, good to see you this morning.
Tom, I'm tired of seeing you. So
yeah, well,
I don't talk about it anymore. You kept me out late last night.
Yeah, it was my fault.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
Who left the soiree first? Oh, yeah, that would be me.
Yeah.
That would be me. Yeah.
Your pumpkin turned at midnight. You left.
I'm just fat and old. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Face for radio, Tom.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Let's talk about this movie, Andy, that you put your love, your sweat, your tears, your every bit of effort you had. 1986, The Act. If I can do a little quick synopsis, it's a movie about a piece of legislation that was really, really good that got bastardized. Is that pretty much cleared up?
That's pretty much it. And first of all, before I go on, Tom, just a huge shout out for Ocala. I've got a great deal of affection for Ocala. A lot of the film was shot here, and the film was much of it edited here. So Brick Studios and Brendan sitting next to me here, thank you so much. Thank you for you running our podcast. Thank you for the mayor, Mayor Gwynn. He set up a bunch of things for us here. So fantastic guy, a man who really cares about his local community, and I greatly appreciate him. Some of our actors were from here. The Allen Law Firm gave us their courtroom to film in. And as I say, the film was in large part edited here, so got a great affection for this town.
But a movie of significance because of the message it portrays, and that message is, don't always trust what you read originally.
This is a story about the 1986 National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, and what that act in effect did was take liability for vaccine injury and death away from the vaccine manufacturers. That was unprecedented. That was an extraordinary situation in this country where a company and its products, its unsafe products, were taken out of the constraints of the free market. When that happens in a country like America, you have a problem. You also had a mandated market, so kids had to have all of these vaccines to go to school. So you had a mandated market, no liability, no incentive for safety, and for the American people, that has turned out to be a disaster. And this film's time has truly come now with COVID-19. We had finished this film, no one had heard of COVID-19.
No one.
But it could not be more important for the people of this country to understand where we've come from, where this has happened, where this problem with the potential for a mandatory COVID vaccine that's been rushed to market right now, a problem facing not only all Americans, but everybody in the world.
For those who want a little context, let's remember 10 years ago, Ford had their Explorer and they had the tires that would come apart and they would blow up right as you were driving and people were dying. This would be like if the government required you to buy Explorers And then when the tire blew out, Ford was like, not our problem. Go figure it out with the government. That's what the drug manufacturers are doing. They have mandates that you have to take the drug. Then if the drug adversely affects you, not our problem. Go take it up with the federal government.
That's right. You're on your own. And in fact, it's the taxpayers who pay for the damage. So the drug companies have made a massive, massive killing out of this, both literally and metaphorically. And they've become extraordinarily powerful. And what that enabled them to do is to buy politicians, to write policy, to buy doctors, to buy medical training, to buy the medical journals, to buy the media with direct-to-consumer advertising, and all of that has made them extraordinarily powerful. What they have not been able to buy is the hearts and minds of the people who are waking up to the reality of vaccine injury and the dangers faced by the American people.
Well, and I'm sorry not to interrupt, but I was just in editing some of this movie. I also learned that it's not just about vaccines in general. It's about bad vaccines. It's about rushing to market, about trying to treat with something before knowledge. And the thing that scared me the most is the building in of the fact that we know this vaccine's bad. We know it's going to cause potential harm to 2%, 3% of the population that takes it. We're okay with that. We're going to make a business decision based on the fact, and we're going to build in any sort of monies or whatever that we have to liabilities. And the federal government does that, and so we know that this adversely affects some people and children. We're going to go ahead and just, build into the funds of that, and that's going to be part of our business.
You're probably going to be the 98% that doesn't affect anyway, so you won't care.
Right, exactly.
That's basically what it is. And what struck me is we had a screening last night at the Marion Theater, put together by Lori Gregory, and the mayor helped, and Pamela Calero and the group at the Riley helped put this together. And what struck me was something you said in the question and answer that I hadn't thought about. Was parents are up in arms about all of this because it directly affects their children. If you have to have a vaccine, you vaccinate my child, and I'm seeing all these horror stories. But I'm not a parent. I don't have any children. So I was on the periphery till last night. You go, now we're talking about a COVID-19 vaccine that everybody's going to have to take. The government's going to try to mandate everybody take it. All of a sudden, this isn't about my next door neighbor's children's getting vaccinated. This is about them poking a needle in Tom and telling me I have to take it.
Absolutely, Tom. This is the danger. People are waking up to this worldwide. You're going to put that vaccine in me? And now, and the drug companies have never been under such scrutiny. So we're aware already of the AstraZeneca trial of the front-runner vaccine for COVID-19. Already in that trial, we've had 2 serious, potentially life-threatening neurological adverse events. And the trial has been stopped, and it's still on pause, on hold in America.
They stopped the trial, right? Yeah. They completely
The bizarre thing is they resumed it in the UK. They shouldn't have done that. That vaccine is dead in the water. And the next one in line is the Moderna vaccine. And in the trials for the Moderna vaccine, then there were up to 80% of people suffered severe to moderate adverse reactions. That vaccine's not fit to go on the market.
Well, Andy, and will COVID, in a sense of, because I'm talking to a doctor here, people don't understand it is Dr. Andy Wakefield, but is it the vaccine the virus can change, and it's like the flu virus. You may get one vaccine, and then there'll be in COVID-20 or whatever it may be. You're going to be constantly trying to cure this vaccine. Am I right when I say that? Because it's like we can't take a flu shot, doesn't get the strain right every year or whatever it may be. Is that what's similar with COVID, or will there be a vaccine that's like they'll eventually come out with what they say the silver bullet that will cover everything?
Hey man, you've been paying attention. I love that. No, you're absolutely right. These RNA viruses are genetically fragile, and they mutate and they mutate and they mutate very rapidly. So we've got a vaccine that's being prepared for market at the moment that targets really one strain of this virus, but the virus has already mutated. Now, the downside for the drug companies is that vaccine becomes irrelevant because the circulating strain may not be susceptible to the immunity produced by the vaccine. The upside for the market is we're going to produce 6 different coronavirus vaccines, and you're going to need all 6. And then when the next one comes along, you're going to need 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. So they've already thought about this, and they've already put in place the infrastructure to make sure that the population are going to get not one coronavirus vaccine, but every single one they make.
And when he means when Brendan talked earlier about a business decision, there's a moment in the movie where, and I won't give away the whole movie, but there's a moment in the movie where we're talking about pennies.
Yeah.
The difference is 1 penny or 2 penny, 1 cent to make a vaccine safer. And they go, it costs us $1 million to make it safer. It costs us $500,000 not to make it safer. We'll take the $500,000 option. And that, to me, just sounds like institutionalized or business murder that nobody's being prosecuted for.
Yeah, that's premeditated. I mean, they know children are going to die as a consequence of that commercial decision, and they let it happen. What distinguishes that from premeditated murder? I don't know, and I'd need a legal opinion on that, but it is bizarre. And as you say, what parent would not be prepared to pay thousands of dollars to have a safer vaccine, not just less than a penny per
I'd give
dose?
you the penny. Here, when I walk in the doctor's office, I want the safer one. Here's the penny.
Well, and you'll see, as a parent myself with an 8-year-old, like, a lot of parents, we don't also do. But there's this one shot. You have no choices, so stagger it. Good luck. Take some vitamins. You hope your kid's going to get great. They might get a temperature, and then we'll go. If you're not, it's a scary thing to think about putting it into your own arm or whatever. But when you start looking at your kid and you start considering that, it really weighs you out. And that's what this movie is not just your day. It's not just a documentary, but it's a theatrical narrative. So
right.
It's good. It's important to know that you actually see a couple play this whole thing out as our two actors, go through what it's like to become pregnant and look at what are they going to vaccinate and what that looks like, and they go through this process. And so a lot of people, parents, children, whatever, they know what that's like. They relate to it.
Now, the average layperson's out there going, yeah, but you're talking a small percentage. You're not talking about a bunch of people. Sure, they say there's links to this and links to that. Andy, in your extensive experience, because you've been doing this, you did Vax, the movie, 4 years ago. You're part of Vax 2. Now you do this movie. Many more that your ideas you have towards the movie making of this health freedom issue. When you were talking about numbers, we're not talking about a few people. We're talking about thousands and thousands of children that are affected. But when you're talking about a 7 billion person planet, it looks like a small number, but it's still
of 7 billion.
Not a small number, Tom. It's a huge number. And just to give it some context, I've been studying vaccines for 30 years now, vaccine safety. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm pro-science. I'm pro-health freedom. I'm pro-parents being able to make the choice. I'm pro making vaccines safer for children. But here's the thing. We face a situation now based upon the CDC's own data, calculated by MIT scientists, that by 2032, if we continue at the current rate, 1 in 2 children will have autism by 2032. 1 in 2 children in this country of a serious, permanent neurological disorder. So that is not a small number. That is a huge number.
Parents won't be working or anything. They'll be full-time taking care of their autistic children.
That's right. You have
the economy will
or
crash.
You care for someone with autism. There's no standing army. There's no police force. There's no economy. There's nothing. Nobody cares about American foreign policy because there is no foreign policy. So we need to wake up to that right now and protect the children of this country because they are the future.
It's just when you see things like this, it throws the mind for a loop at times. Some of the things, especially, and if you haven't seen the movie, I implore you, go to 1986theact.com. It's out there for viewing, and it's relatively inexpensive to get the movie.
You can stream it and watch it online,
and you can order the DVD. They ship next week, so please get it out there, get it to your friends, get it to your legislators. Everybody needs to see the facts behind the 1986 Vaccine Injury Act and what its consequences, both intended and unintended, have been.
We got to go to a break, but the one thing that struck me last night was the act was originally a good thing. And then the drug companies, through lobby groups, started taking senators and representatives who started carving the thing up. And then Bill Clinton's Donna Shalala, she just decided it was hers to take a red pen to and make it toothless. Is basically what happened. And all that's explained in the movie. And you can see that by going to 1986theact.com and streaming the movie. When we come back from break, I want to talk now about the uniqueness of Andy's a movie maker and how he got brought to Ocala. And I promise you, folks, the first time I met Andy, he loves Ocala and has praise for Ocala, but Ocala was not on his map. He was probably aware that Ocala existed, but he wasn't aware.
I don't think he was.
I wasn't even aware of it.
I don't think I was aware of that at all.
Well, we'll find out.
And then can we discuss like what it's like to edit a movie during a pandemic at the same time?
We'll do that.
I thought Ocala was a brand of ice cream.
A brand of ice cream.
A lot of things.
That's pretty good.
Somebody's making it right now.
Bluebell Ocala.
I don't even want to know what kind of ice cream that is.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
In Wu, the White House chief of staff optimistic about President Trump's recovery from COVID-19.
The president continues to improve and is ready to get back to a normal work schedule.
Mark Meadows saying, depending on what his physicians say, the president could be released from Walter Reed Medical Center today.
Specifics of President Trump's condition are still unclear, though we should be getting a picture of that in a couple of hours. Over the weekend, there'd been some mixed information about the president's condition. Doctors did acknowledge his blood oxygen had dropped and that they had given him a steroid usually administered to seriously ill COVID patients.
Fox's Rich Edson at the White House. Fox News learning that both the vice president and Mrs. Pence tested negative this morning for COVID. Vice President Pence and Joe Biden's running mate Kamala Harris are set for their first debate Wednesday evening. America's listening to Fox News.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your renter's insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Great. As a minimalist, I need simple insurance.
Nice place. No furniture?
Nothing spark joy, except for this fruit bowl.
Well, with Liberty Mutual, you only pay for what you need, so there's that.
I mean, look. So beautiful. So empty again.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Wouldn't it be great if everything came with more? Like if your new computer came with unlimited tech support. When you choose a Medicare plan from United Healthcare, you get more. Like plans that have dental and vision coverage, plus hearing coverage. Call United Healthcare at 1-800-364-1360 to get Medicare with more. Remember, Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th.
Benefits and availability may vary by plan and location. More plans based on a year-over-year comparison of United Healthcare plans.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Brick City Creative Group is your one-stop multimedia destination. With the experience our team has, not many can really tell a story like we do. Specializing in live broadcasting, promo reels, film, and social media. No matter the story, we've got you covered with some of the best professionals in the industry. Your story is our mission. Find us on the web at brickcitycreativegroup.com or on Facebook at Brick City Creative.
Howdy, folks. RL here from Dairy Queen Silver Springs announcing the Patriot Pride Ride 2020 for President Donald Trump. Hundreds of cars and trucks and motorcycles will assemble at the Veterans Memorial parking lot in Ocala, Florida at 1 p.m. Saturday, October the 10th. Coming up, the route will head west on State Road 40 and end up at the Ocala Livestock Pavilion, where food trucks, awesome speakers, and music will be. Nashville recording artist Gemma Adams will open up. Let's help save America. See you there.
Finally, shipping made easy. Just Ship is your answer to your shipping aggravation. They come pick up your package and ship it for you. Birthday gifts, eBay sales, or an online return. Just Ship can handle all of them for you. Act now and you can save 20% on an annual subscription, which will take you through the 2020 holiday months. Go to www.justship.net now and take the aggravation out of shipping.
The NFL alumni is sponsoring a Clay for Kids sporting event to benefit Champions for Champions. The event will take place at the Robinson Ranch in Inglis, Florida on Saturday, October 24th. Call 866-996-2182 for details. The NFL alumni will provide gift bags, breakfast, lunch, and prizes. Call 866-996-2182 for details. Clay for Kids. Call 866-996-2182 for details. Hosted by the NFL alumni.
The Ocala Golf Club, one of Ocala's premier golf courses, from its pristine 18-hole course layout to its amazing pro shop. Jason Linhart and the staff at Ocala Golf offer everything that you need for your golf outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917. Welcome back to Ocala Talks. I'm Tom Schmitz, coming to you from the palatial studios of WOCA Radio right here in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. Before the break, we were talking with Dr. Andy Wakefield, a filmmaker, producer, director, writer, and Brendan Martin, who was an editor on the movie 1986, The Act, who is part owner of Brick City Creative Group that you hear advertised right here on these airwaves, and I'm proud to say my business partner in Brick City Creative. So, look, Brendan, I had you turned off because I knew you were going to say you weren't proud of having me as a business partner.
I'm not proud to be your business partner, okay? Let's just get that out of the way.
Okay, he's by the way, he's lying because he knows that physical harm will come to him if he says that too many times.
Hey, Tom, I'm holding a T-shirt here, by the way.
Can I give it away?
Yeah, will you give it away? It's, if you're watching online, WOCA.com. I don't know if that's the...
Yeah, it is.
Okay, WOCA.com.
No, it's at YouTube. WOCA on YouTube.
Okay, on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can see this really cool merch, 1986 The Act shirt, which I'm going to have to get. We're going to get a couple of these, Tom.
Okay. Well, Andy already said he'd have to stitch two together to fit me.
So you're going to give it away? Okay, you'll give it away.
622-9622. We'll take the first caller that wants that free T-shirt, 1986 The Act. Thank you so much for giving us that to give away, Andy.
My pleasure.
Let's talk about this movie. Brendan and I received a phone call from his sister, Lori, who is a producer of the movie. And she said, guys, I have a unique situation. I think maybe it's something we could all help each other with. And she laid out where you were with the movie at the time. And take us from there, Andy. What your first thoughts or reaction was when Lori said, Andy, I have a brother and his business partner in Ocala, and they may be able to help us.
You know, I was greatly relieved because we had been running into some problems with editing in a standard movie software, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I hadn't appreciated at that time just how bad it was, but I brought Brendan in. Brendan and his colleagues, his team, troubleshot that and save the film, and that was huge. And it emerged that the problem was far greater than I could ever imagine. We almost lost the entire movie. We got it back.
Think about that. I mean, we were so close to losing the entire film.
I was in a discussion with you two in a group where we were like, so what happens if we have to reshoot everything?
Oh, that's right. No, you'd find me in the bath. With it, anyway, and then Brendan introduced us to something which is a big shout out for this, and that is Frame.io.
Yeah.
Frame.io, an online editing system that allows you to interact with other editors around the country. And we finished this movie under the most extraordinary circumstances, not just of COVID and lockdown, with our editors in LA, in Atlanta, in Austin, Texas, in Ocala, in Florida, and in Miami. We had problems of having to build a new platform to get the film out as well. So there were some unique challenges, and Frame.io,
really
I can't
made a
be
difference.
too complimentary about that, enabled us to do that. And we were the first, the biggest film ever?
Well, the longest film that they've done, because the film is about 2 hours.
Frames used to 15, 20-minute videos.
Yeah, it's more of a news share kind of a site for smaller sources and vignettes and whatnot, and it's a media share, and it makes it easier. But let me paint this picture here. It's about March. I guess it was March. And at the time, Tom, to just rewind, I get the call, it would come down, and I was,
It's in December when we get the original call.
Yeah, we get the original call. We decided to start editing, to start editing a different software. We use Premiere Pro, those who are editors, and we switched the Adobe suite. And but I was going down to Miami, to go down to the offices down in Miami, 7th Chakra Films, the name of Andy's production company, and we were editing down there. So I'm painting the picture, Andy, because there we were in the office, and I get a call from my friend who's the director at Fox, who does Hannity and some other shows there, and he basically says, they're going to shut down like the interstate. Like you
were in Miami. I remember.
Yeah, we were all talking like, was there going to be martial law? Like, what was going to happen? Things are starting. We had the executive editor Claire Dooley. She was needed to go back home, and we all things that we were all trying to anticipate what was happening next. We all scattered like flies, and Andy went and stayed in Miami. I came back to Ocala.
Claire went to
Mississippi. And so now we have the core editing team. We're now not in the same vicinity of each other.
No, you're hundreds of miles apart.
So it's a little bit different when you're a graphics person or this music is in another state. That's a little bit different when the core editing team is not like having FaceTime, with each other. So we started Zoom calling, and we started doing screen shares, and we started to do the stuff that wasn't really functioning that well. And then we sort of stumbled on using this product we had been using, Frame.io, which was great for us to share this whole thing. But as you can imagine, standing with my filmmaker, my director, and I'm looking and I'm editing a movie about vaccines and all the things that we just discussed, and we're literally now discussing a pandemic that had been not announced yet, that's coming down the line. We're talking about martial law, and we're talking about how are we going to pivot to finish the movie, because we had to finish. There was no option.
Yeah.
We had to get done. I mean, money is the driving force in all of these things in nature and film, and we didn't have a choice. So Andy and I were suddenly forced to continue with Claire, and our team, and we were able to grind out, I think with some therapy, a little bit of some adult beverages and some late nights and a few arguments along the way, but we were able to carve out this film in a virtual space. During a pandemic, and there were times that I had to look up at a point and be like, am I really editing a movie in the pandemic about vaccines? I'm like, this is quite crazy. So,
and it was a style of movie that had never been done before, where we, in order to narrate the film, we brought in the concept of this couple having their first baby. So you had this narrative fiction, as Brendan says, alongside the documentary, and that could end up looking like a chocolate sundae. Right. It really could. Every time I mentioned it to people in Hollywood, who were sponsoring the film or helping, they said, "You really want to do that? Are you sure you want to do that?" And I'm thinking, no, I'm not so sure.
What people and what I, as an outsider, because I was not in the editing process. I was in the process.
No, you brought in the Peroni.
You were just the
right. I was
one
getting
who kept us all going.
I was getting I was getting the coffee, the creamer, and the Peroni. Basically, was what I was doing. The important job. The important job. Right. But because you guys would either be in Ocala or in Miami, and you were working 12, 14-hour days, face to face with each other, shoulder to shoulder.
That was pretty brutal.
And then all of a sudden. Because that's how editing's done, though. Most people don't realize editing's done that way, where the director, the editor, they sit down and they just work in a very small room and work. Yes. And here, all of a sudden, Andy's at his office. You're at our office in Ocala. Claire, who's the other editor, is in Mississippi with... I don't know how the internet is in Mississippi. It's Mississippi. How good, so.
Pigeon post.
Exactly. Yes. So the fact that you three were able, with the help of course, Dan Drescher and his guys in Atlanta, the folks out in California, the folks in Austin.
Very great team of people.
The fact that you were able to pull all this together, and last night I watched the movie. It's a Hollywood quality movie.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that you were able to pull that all together, it still boggles my mind.
And I have to say this about Andy, and none of this would have been possible had it not had Andy be so incredibly organized with his scripting and his vision and sticking to his guns on things. I mean, it really was a joy to work with somebody who, because if you weren't that organized, when you split apart, this wouldn't be possible. But Andy knew what he wanted, and he knew where he wanted it, and he knew what, and he was telling the truth and these things, and it was really important. And he did such a masterful job at that, and writing such a, telling this story that we all need to hear. Hats off to you, Andy. I mean, you're a great captain in this process.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much. And you've got some news, and I just kind of say again that how much I appreciate all the guys who contributed to this unique situation.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that folks, we are talking about the Act, 1986, the Act. It is a documentary. It's a 2-hour documentary, but it's available right now at 1986theact.com, and you can watch it chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
And that's really great, because I think for people like me, who have ADD pretty severely. It's 8-9 minutes of ingesting these things and being able to go back and references is a fantastic way to take this movie in if that's your thing, as well as you can see the whole thing is there. And just to hit this other kind of hot spots here is that Andy and his team are on the Florida swing right now. They're headed to Jacksonville for a viewing, I think tomorrow, and then there's Orlando. I know Virginia is on the tour. So if you go to 1986act.com, you can actually see where it's coming to your theater or town near you. If you want to go and see, you can be a part of it, see it in the theater, as well as download it, watch it there, buy a DVD, or watch it by chapter. But it's all at 1986theact.com. It's a really important. If
you want some fun too? You know something else you can do, because of we live in a social media age, and because of Lori Gregory and Claire Dooley and Andy and all the people involved, if you want to go back and relive what we just talked about, some of the chaos that was the making of this movie, just go back and look at the 1986 The Act's Facebook page. Go look at Instagram. Yeah, it's all documented well. Yeah. The story and the struggle of making the movie is on many different social media platforms associated with this movie, 1986 The Act. Yeah. I went back and looked at just an Instagram. You can follow the storyline of how of how it went from editing to, dear God, now we're not near each other, what are we going to do? Right. To now we need to get the movie out. What different platforms? Hold on, this platform doesn't like us. We have to move it somewhere else. Yeah. And that's something, Andy, as we wrap up this interview, that a lot of people don't talk about, is not only are we dealing with COVID-19, not only are we dealing with a pandemic, not only dealing with the struggles of putting this movie out, you're also dealing with the struggles of people censoring you at every turn.
Yeah, it's been a really unusual. Anything that goes against the narrative of a vaccine and vaccine-only way of dealing with the COVID problem is censored. And that's really sad, because there is nothing in this film that isn't entirely factual. Everything is based upon American legislative history, litigation, and medical science. It's all there. And included on the website, for those who don't believe it, are all the discovery documents that we got that really were the core of the argument. If you don't believe it, go and read those documents for yourself. I can promise you they're even worse than portrayed in the movie. And these are discovery documents that the industry had to provide to the courts and to the plaintiffs' lawyers, that really reveal the extraordinary and very, very sad, dirty history behind the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. If you are to protect yourselves going forward in the face of things like COVID-19, you need to understand where we've come from. Have we been here before? The answer is yes. Please watch them.
What I love, and I heard you say this numerous times, is if Big Pharma doesn't like the movies we're making, they can sue me. But they're never going to do that, because then they'll have to give up discovery.
And they do not want to do that.
They don't want to do that.
The fact that you have all the discovery documents for this movie is the basis behind they really don't want this kind of stuff out.
And the great thing about the pharmaceutical industry is the things they do give a filmmaker work for the rest of his life.
It's kind of like I say here. Somebody says, Tom, how easy is radio in Ocala? I go, as long as we got the school board, we got easy radio.
All of this stuff, again, 1986theact.com. You can find all this information that we've been talking about, anything that you want. I know you do your Q&As on there sometimes, where you guys have Q&As with Andy. After the films and stuff, they do Q&As. They post all that stuff there. You can find 1986theact.com on Instagram, on Facebook, and then obviously on Twitter, and then obviously the website where you can find out information where you can see it in person and or download it, get a DVD, watch it by chapter. And Andy, there was something I wanted that people with with any sort of affliction or with ADD or something, do they get some sort of, is there a discount associated with that, or is there?
Not at the moment. It's an interesting idea.
I thought I misunderstood you there, but but the first you have written down, first 3 was free, or?
Oh, that's right. So the first 3, if you go onto the chapter by chapter version, which is really, you're on the way to work and you've got your cell phone and you've got 5 minutes, you can watch a chapter. You can watch a chapter that you can go to if you specifically want to see the question answered. What about polio? That perennial question that keeps coming up. Well, vaccines are safe. What about polio? It's all dealt with right up front in the movie. So that version, it's really a response to the demands of the public. What do the viewing public want to see? How do they want to see it? So we've catered for that, and I think that works better for young people as well, and we're trying to engage that younger audience. So we let us know what we need to do, and we'll do it.
We also have, you can go to 1986 The Act and follow the Andy Wakefield podcast. Just clicked off to episode 41. Yeah. You've done 41 of those, Andy.
Well, I put up with you for that long?
That long. And there doesn't look like there's any chance that you won't have to put up with me moving forward. So.
Tom has got a voice that I'd like to get into a film. It's like a man who chews on blacktop for a living. If only you had the body to match it.
I'm taking that with me.
Oh, I may use that. I may use it. In college, Andy, real quick before we go, in college, my coach, who is a well-known, nationally recognized college football coach, nicknamed me Shampoo.
I don't know if I want to know.
Do you know why?
Of course, there's a why.
This is a family show.
No.
Come on, Tom.
No. I looked at Coach Russell and said, Coach Russell, head and shoulders. I go, Shampoo? He goes, yeah, you're head and shoulders.
That's fine.
That was literally why he called me Shampoo, because I was head and shoulders. I was like, okay. Eats blacktop. That chews blacktop. That's pretty good.
Blacktop.
That's pretty good.
Voice that chews blacktop for a living.
Hey, well, thanks for both of you coming in and for
thanks for having us, Tom.
Andy, keeping this narrative going, because it's not that, like Andy said, it's not that he's anti-vaccine. He's pro-truth. He wants you to have the option to make the decisions yourself.
And pro-science.
Right, pro-science.
Pro-good.
Not pro-saving a penny.
And pro-medical freedom of your own body and your own choice. So.
That's what gets me is it kills me how and it's a red and blue team issue now in this election coming up.
Right.
And it gets me how the blue team, all of a sudden, it's not about your body anymore. If it's abortion, it's your choice. But if it's about vaccines, it's not your choice. We're mandating you do it.
Well, I think
that aggravates me.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see this upcoming election. 1986theact.com. If you wanted more information on this amazing documentary that you should see, go there and find out all the information that you need.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks. We're going to take a break, come back, a little high school sports. Westport, North Marion, give you a wrap-up of that game, plus Forest Vanguard. That rivalry repeated itself once again. And Florida and Florida State also took to the field this weekend. We'll have a recap of that right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Brick City Creative Group is your one-stop multimedia destination. With the experience our team has, not many can really tell a story like we do. Specializing in live broadcasting, promo reels, film, and social media. No matter the story, we've got you covered with some of the best professionals in the industry. Your story is our mission. Find us on the web at brickcitycreativegroup.com or on Facebook at Brick City Creative.
Howdy, folks. RL here from Dairy Queen Silver Springs announcing the Patriot Pride Ride 2020 for President Donald Trump. Hundreds of cars and trucks and motorcycles will assemble at the Veterans Memorial parking lot in Ocala, Florida at 1 p.m. Saturday, October the 10th. Coming up, the route will head west on State Road 40 and end up at the Ocala Livestock Pavilion, where food trucks, awesome speakers, and music will be. Nashville recording artist Gemma Adams will open up. Let's help save America. See you there.
Finally, shipping made easy. Just Ship is your answer to your shipping aggravation. They come pick up your package and ship it for you. Birthday gifts, eBay sales, or an online return. Just Ship can handle all of them for you. Act now and you can save 20% on an annual subscription, which will take you through the 2020 holiday months. Go to